Static methods in Python. Can I define a static method which I can call directly on the class instance? For example,
Yep, using the static method decorator. Note that some code might use the old method of defining a static method, using static method as a function rather than a decorator. This should only be used if you have to support ancient versions of Python, 2.2 and 2.3. This is entirely identical to the first example, using its static method, just not using the nice decorator syntax. Finally, use static methods sparingly. There are very few situations where static methods are necessary in Python, and I've seen them used many times where a separate top-level function would have been clearer. The following is verbatim from the documentation. A static method does not receive an implicit first argument. To declare a static method, use this idiom. The static method form is a function decorator. See the description of function definitions and function definitions for details. It can be called either on the class, such as CF, or on an instance, such as CF. The instance is ignored except for its class. Static methods in Python are similar to those found in Java or C++. For a more advanced concept, see class method. For more information on static methods, consult the documentation on the standard type hierarchy and the standard type hierarchy. New in version 2.2. Changed in version 2.4, function decorator syntax added.
I think that Stephen is actually right. To answer the original question, then, in order to set up a class method, simply assume that the first argument is not going to be a calling instance, and then make sure that you only call the method from the class. Note that this answer refers to Python 3.x. In Python 2.x you'll get a type error for calling the method on the class itself. For example, in this code, the roll call method assumes that the first argument is not an instance, as it would be if it were called by an instance instead of a class. As long as roll call is called from the class rather than an instance, the code will work fine. If we try to call roll call from an instance, for example, however, it would cause an exception to be raised because it would send two arguments, itself and -1, and roll call is only defined to accept one argument. Incidentally, rex.rollCall would send the correct number of arguments, but would also cause an exception to be raised because now n would be representing a dog instance, i.e., rex, when the function expects n to be numerical. This is where the decoration comes in, if we proceed the roll call method with then, by explicitly stating that the method is static, we can even call it from an instance. Now, would work. The insertion of a static method before a method definition, then, stops an instance from sending itself as an argument. You can verify this by trying the following code with and without the static method line commented out.
Yes, check out the static method decorator.
You don't really need to use that static method decorator. Just declaring a method that doesn't expect the self parameter and call it from the class. The decorator is only there in case you want to be able to call it from an instance as well, which was not what you wanted to do. Mostly, you just use functions though.
If you want to see more, please consider subscribing.